Hello there again, everybody. This is going to be Jund League number 72 on my YouTube. So if you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, you definitely should, because between 3 and 5 of these leagues get posted every week. So if you love Jund content, this is the place to find it. So this is the list I'm going to be playing today. I recently played the Aspiring Spike Inspired list. That's a tongue twister. Aspiring Spike Inspired. Okay, anyway. So this is not that. So my sideboard is more along the lines of what I usually like to do, and that is my philosophy is I like my cards to be pretty good in a lot of different matchups. And the list that I more recently played, a lot of my cards were very narrow in that they were excellent in between 1 and 3 matchups and just straight dead in all the others. A pretty good example of that was the Blight Beetle, which is excellent versus Heliod, because you can prevent them from getting +1/+1 counters, which just denies the entire strategy. But against every other strategy, that interaction almost never comes up. So cards that I am more a fan of are things like Nile Spellbomb, things like Collective Brutality, and things like Cleansing Wildfire, because while none of them are going to be necessarily aces in a few matchups, they're all going to be good, or at least better than something in the main deck in a wide variety of matchups. I'm back on my bullshit, and what I mean by that is 4 copies of Dark Confidant and no copies of Wrenn and 6. I have been very, 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 very unimpressed with Wrenn and 6, and every time I play Wrenn and 6, I become even less impressed with it and even more in favor of Dark Confidant. I pretty much always just wish that my Wrenn and 6 had just been a Bob, so let's just play the 4 Bobs. I'm more experimentally playing 3 copies of Kolaghan's Command. I usually like playing 2. But I had narrowed down all of the cards that I definitely wanted to play, and I achieved a 59 card deck of all of this minus 3rd Kolaghan's Command, and I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to play as my 60th card, and I came across just playing another Kolaghan's Command. In the metagame snapshot, which we're going to go through in a sec, you'll, I think, see why Kolaghan's Command might just be very good right now. I'm playing a 1/1 split of Abrupt Decay and Terminate. I expect Abrupt Decay to be able to kill pretty much everything with the exception of Stormwing Entity and things like Bedlam Reveler. That said, Terminate does kill those things. So that is why... Oh, my mouse just died, I think. Oh, no, it didn't. That is why I think Terminate is at least deserving of a spot. Most of the things that I kill with the Abrupt Decay have been creatures anyway. So in the wide... in the wide, I guess, like, bigger percentage of the time, bigger percentage, I don't know how to phrase that, most of the time, killing a creature is plenty fine, and Terminate will always get that job done. I'm playing a 4-2 split of Thoughtseize and Inquisition, pretty standard, and then I'm playing a 4-3 split of Lightning Bolt and Fatal Push, because I know usually people play like 5 or 6 1-mana removal spells, and then sometimes board into another one. But I think that the cheap removal specifically is at a premium right now, with all of the hyper aggro decks are going around, and also all of the creature-based combo decks going around. So let's take a look at the modern metagame, like I just mentioned. This is what we've got going. We've got Heliod Company in at first. It's been pretty solid at first for a while now. Jund Shadow in at second. I know it was recently like 5th or 6th-ish. But it's got a bunch of recent good tournament finishes. Blitz and Burn have been also in the top 4 for a few weeks now. And then we've got also just Blue-White Control also rounding out the top 5. It's been hovering around the top 5, be it Blue-White or splashing red to make Jeskai or splashing black to make Esper. And then we've got all of our more traditional offenders here in through the 6th through 15th slots. As far as this top 15 is concerned, I'm pretty happy with the diversity, but would still like to avoid the Tron matchup and the Dredge matchup. And I don't want to see Eldrazi Tron, but I think it's more winnable than Tron versus Dredge, but I would like to avoid Eldrazi Tron if at all possible. So let's jump into a league. got one on the line. And we get to go first. And we got a keeper. Very disruptive hand. Hopefully this is a good bolt matchup, because if it is, this hand's very good. The opponent has mulligans. What you got, opponent? Ooh. So, Godless Shrine, Marsh Flats, Verdant. This could just be like Black-White Stoneblade, which I have seen rise in popularity, but haven't seen super recently. I guess I am most afraid of the Liliana, although if I don't take Inquisition, my Liliana almost assuredly gonna die. Assuming this is a Stoneblade something or other, the bolts are actually quite good. So if I take the Liliana and just have them leave me with my 2 bolts and lands, I think that's a fine position, because given the rest of the opponent's hand is just lands, I still think we're ahead on that exchange. And if I find a threat of my own, which I do need, this Liliana is going to be very good against it. So I think I'm going to take the Liliana, and then just be sad when they take mine, but it's expected, and I'd much rather them take my Liliana than leave them with the Liliana. Makes the sense. Kolaghan's Command, not bad. So I think I'm more likely to want to fetch basic Swamp than basic Forest. Or Mountain, for that matter. So I guess both of these get Forest. So do I want to fetch basic Swamp or basic Mountain more likely? I've got so many red spells in my hand that it's actually probably more likely that I want to fetch basic Mountain. So I'll lead on the Verdant. So that way if I want to, I can get Mountain next turn. Okay, and I can get basic Mountain if I want, so let's make this an Overgrown Tomb. If I, for whatever reason, end up not getting the basic, I can just make this a Stomping Ground. Forest is not a good one. I feel like I always draw the Forest. It's not terrible if you need lands, but like it doesn't escape Kroxa, which is pretty bad. Oh, it's Abzan. Cool. Alright. We've got a KO Diamonds Imposter. Another Kolaghan's. Yeah, sure. Alright, well, if they're playing Stoneblade, our hand's good. We need a threat, though. Hey, and it is Stoneblade. So our hand's fine. We just need to find a threat. So they got Batterskull. Yeah, makes sense. I think I'm just going to bolt this thing. Kolaghan's Command seems like it's going to be a better card in the long run. And like I could Kolaghan's Command now because it just costs more mana. I can like shock this, have them discard. But if they find an Inquisition or a Thoughtseize and take the other Kolaghan's Command, that leaves me to an answer without an answer to the Batterskull. So I think I'm just going to just throw a bolt at this thing and just maintain my more powerful spells. More land, not great. Pretty fine argument for just not playing the land, because if they find a Liliana, I may want to have lands to pitch. But I mean, my fourth non-basic forest land is pretty good, because that'll hopefully let me get to casting Kroxa from the graveyard. That's fine. We can Kolaghan's Command that fairly easily. And now the other mode will be you discard, I think. Discarded another land. Yep. So now if I find lands, I'll keep them in hand. Bloodbraid. Nope. Unearthed Stoneforge. Yep. So I guess if they just cast the equipment that they find off of this, I'll probably just Kolaghan's Command the Stoneforge, and the whatever equipment it is. I could have them discard and just leave them without anything, but if they had something better, they probably would have cast it. So I think I just like killing both things. Although the equipment does get much worse if they don't have any bodies to equip it to, and Bolt is going to make it easier to make sure that doesn't happen. I still think I like just killing both things. Destroy an artifact. 2 to a target. Yep. Oop. There we go. Black, red. Come on, action. Come on, action. Jeez. Not good. I have an update, huh? Yup, take 2. So it's going to be hard to beat. Just haven't found anything to do, unfortunately. Come on, action. Come on, action. There we go. That's more like it. More action? There we go. Now we got the ball rolling. And I'll still hold the other land in hand. There's a chance I want a Liliana plus and then keep the Bolt. More likely than not, just going to use my turn on Kroxa. Take 2. What is this? Goyf, sure. It's a 6/7. I still think I'm probably just bolting face here. I could wait on this, but if I draw something that I want to cast in conjunction with Kroxa, I am going to wish that I had just bolted them now. It's looking unlikely Bolt would go anywhere else anyway. So we'll get this. And then escape Kroxa. And if they got just a land in hand, they just die immediately. Alright, and there's the thing that makes me happy that I kept the Kroxa. Or, sorry, that I bolted end step. Can I shrink this in any way? Any future Goyfs? I guess they've got Planeswalker and Artifact. That's pretty much everything making it huge. So I don't think it matters a whole lot. So yeah, they're just dead, right? We were drawn dead for a while, but then we found Bloodbraid. Alright, Mirror. So we don't know that they're playing Lingering Souls, but if they are, Plague Engineer is probably fine. And they're not playing burn-based removal, so it's actually more likely that the Plague Engineer gets to live and trade with something like a Tarmogoyf, so I think I actually like it in this matchup. Don't think I'm high on Brutality here, so let's just not bring it in. Kolaghan's going to be looking very good versus Stoneblade. Then in any black green mirror, I really like cutting all the discard. They're just horrendous draws in the late game. And they're just really not that good on the early game either. There isn't like a single piece that you particularly care about. Would like to cut other Inquisition if possible. I guess I could bring in a Brutality. It's a bad removal spell in a bad version of Inquisition. There's a chance that Drain comes up. I think it's better than an Inquisition. So for that reason, I guess I'll bring it in. Yep, that sounds great. Blackleaf Cliffs. Boom. Okay, well, funny enough, had that been exactly Inquisition, I'd probably cast it here, unless they've got Veil. So let's just play the Spell Bomb. Pretty straightforward. Tarmogoth. There's that forest again. So Brutality does not kill it, because that would add sorcery. Is there any way I can combo the Spell Bomb to make it work? No, right? I could Brutality the Goyf and then Spell Bomb myself, but that has me not drawing the card. I think I'd much rather just get this Dark Confidant ball rolling. So yeah, let's just get this Dark Confidant ball rolling. And something very minor, which I should have thought of about a millisecond sooner, was if the opponent plays like an Ashiok, I'm gonna have wished I had played my fetch before the basic. So hopefully I don't get Ashioked. Square up, Tarmogoyf. I can kill you in combat for now. Yeah, if they Liliana me, it'll be unfortunate, but then I get to Liliana them. Fair enough. Kroxa is good. We've already got one, though, and you've got the stupid forest again. Alright, so Blood Crypts. First red, second black. Pretty straightforward. Our hands are going to be decimated. Sure. Oh, I punted. I should have just popped the Spell Bomb, for sure. That was my bad. Because like, I would love to draw the card off of this, but like denying them the free card is effectively drawing a card. So that was just a straight up punt. Maybe I can get my Tarmogoyf in front of it. They've got Sword though. Yeah, so that was bad. Let's, I guess, plus here. Discard a Kroxa. Definitely need this swamp, I think, so Kroxa can actually be a thing later. And I could just have my opponent discard their last card and then play Goyf. They would have to top deck away to deal with this Tarmogoyf. Yeah, they would have to top deck away to deal with the Tarmogoyf. Or else my Liliana just gets to kill their thing. But then they're left with like Liliana and Sword in play. Yeah, this was a really big misplay. I just like, oh, I'm tapped out, so there's nothing I can do. But I forgot about the spell bomb for a split second. Maybe what I can do is I can Tarmogoyf, and after I block, I can shrink them. Does that even take out a type? It adds artifacts, so I would need to take out 2 types? No, that doesn't work. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just going to cast Kroxa to play Tarmogoyf. had him discard a Batter Skull. That's good. Yeah, so if they equip Sword here and then try to hit, I just have to block it pretty much. So I'm behind. Definitely blocking, even if they go at me, because they could use their last thing to kill the Liliana. Alright, they drew a trophy. That's bad. Yep, let's get... I mean, I guess getting Mountain means that I get to escape Croxa next turn. Their thing has Pro-Red, though, which is definitely an issue. I could Swamp here to try to draw the card. I think Croxa is going to be my best bet, assuming I can somehow kill this Tarmogoyf. Shoot Lily, yeah. That kills Sword and gets back Tarmogoyf, but then Tarmogoyf is big enough on its own to just kill me, right? Yeah, Lily off the top would have been good. We did not get that lucky. I mean, I can shatter this, kill Liliana, but then this is still plenty big. What if I use Kolaghan's command, I shatter Sword, kill Liliana? Is there a way to shrink Tarmogoyf below a 6? I can, I guess, get rid of... Yeah, I can, right? I can make this 5. I can go to 1, and then maybe Croxa can outsize it moving forward. It's not a great line, but it's the best line that I've got. Like, if I just Croxa here, I die. So 2 to a target, kill an artifact. Right? Here, here. So we need to hope they brick here. And like if they decide to sack Peatland, kind of brick there too. Goyf is going to be really, really tiny after exiling their yard and my own with Croxa. So I mean there is a glimmer of hope. And guess I'll leave up the Blood Crypt. Swamp, that doesn't do it. Oh wait, that didn't do it either. I swore I would have gone down to 5. I guess I didn't remove enough types. Thought I counted it correctly, but I guess not. Alright, so yeah, I mean, I lost that game because of the Spell Bomb. I didn't use the Spell Bomb when I needed to. Submit. Hopefully that punt doesn't cost me. Could very easily, unfortunately. Yeah, I added Artifact after I sacked the bomb, which is where I must have miscounted. We got the Forest again. Yeah, I'm going to keep it, though. Gonna hope that this Dark Confidant can pull some weight. I feel like my most recent like 3 videos, like I've made a mistake in exactly the first match, which is like the worst match to make a mistake on. It's like people in the YouTube videos, like they love to stop watching after mistakes happen. So like if you make a mistake in the first match, it's always, it feels bad. They left in discard, or at least some number of it. Bye, Bob, probably. Give me another one. Nope. Pretty straightforward turn. I don't think there's ever really a reason to hold this. They did mulligan once, by the way, so slight advantage. Is this Stoneforge? Goyf of your own. Yep. Liliana? Damn it. Alright, well, I guess I'm going to attack. They can't really block because then I could bolt their Tarmogoyf to finish it off. And they know about the bolt, so there's just like no realistic way they could block here. Okay. I mean, I guess maybe they're trying to Liliana onto an empty board here. But they know about Blood Braids. There's no way they think that's going to work. Okay. That makes more sense. Leaving in discard, though, is just so strange. I feel like you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. Alright, big draw step. Luckily, we've got Peatland to cycle if we Mega Brick. We've got a few very good ones. Spellbomb is acceptable. And I'm going to play the Peatland because if the opponent pluses with like a Liliana, I'm going to wish to keep the land that could cycle. Yeah, imagine having non-lands. I guess I should just cycle this now, right? Because if I hit a 2-drop, I'm going to really want to be able to cast it. There are a number of them. There's like Goyf, Blob, Kroxa, Liliana. Not one of them, but still a welcome addition. The downside to doing this now is if we brick on a 2-drop, it's open to getting discarded. Okay. That's good for me. Do I want to sacrifice the Peatland now? I don't think that I do because I'm going to go up to 4 mana after playing Blood Crypt, which means that there's nothing that I could want to do more than just this Liliana. So I'll wait to protect from discard. Okay, and I do really want second red source for potential Kroxa. Should I shock it to draw a card? I think it's probably worth it. This is a fine spot to be in, though. We've got mana advantage, and to some extent, we're kind of like even on cards, I guess. Liliana of your own, yeah. Well, I can't imagine there's a card that I want to keep more than a basic, so I'm okay just ditching this now. Their Liliana is ahead of mine. Engineer, interesting. Tarmogoyf, also interesting. So, like, no matter which one I do, the other one is dying, right? They discarded Veil, so they do have Veil on the deck. Interesting. I guess I just wanted to play the Tarmogoyf here. I mean, whatever I play is dying, but I want to plus my Liliana to get it up to an Edict range. So, I mean, I really wish I had just drawn 2-2-drops, which should have been the nuts. But now we're at a top deck war where their Liliana is ahead. I guess my Liliana is ahead. This is really a big turning point in the game, right? Because if they can draw a land here, they Edict here, my Liliana is going to be ahead of theirs. But if they find actual anything, yeah, that's actual anything. Let's get more red. Yeah, their Liliana is ahead. We have a lot of big draws, though. Like, if we can find Bloodbraid, I'll feel excellent. There's 3 in the deck. Just another Goyf. I mean, that's Liliana fodder. Kind of in a similar position as before. Yeah, just top deck another Bloodbraid. It's so easy, right? They've got a lot of really excellent draws, too. Like, Stoneforge would be really, really bad. Really, really bad for me. Really bad for me. Yep. Just another Liliana. I mean, alright, so I guess that's a fine draw for me. Their Liliana's still ahead, though. Kind of funny. Hey, yo! Just draw Liliana, the last god says. Or a Bloodbraid. It's so simple. Alright, well, we also hit another Liliana. Is there any reason to, like, actually cast this other Liliana? It puts the Liliana in our graveyard. That's, like, about the only reason. Is there any reason to want a Liliana in the yard? I guess, like, there actually is, because if I find a Kroxa and they, like, Fatal Push it, it's more food for Kroxa. Alright, so we hit our best case, but our best case hit one of our worst case. So, I mean, it's still net neutral, right? Ooze. Ooze is annoying. I mean, I do just get to edict that. And then we're still... I guess I'm ahead now, right? Because I'm going to have a Liliana on 2 and the only creature in play. Yeah, you eat the elf. Mm-hmm. That's good. Feeling great now. Opponent says GG. Damnation? Damnation can do it. Oh no, they get to name human. We're back in it. Well, they're back in it. So that was probably one of their best draws, right? Because like when we kill with our Liliana, we no longer have a Liliana, but they still 2-for-1 us. I think I definitely want to sacrifice this first, because if I find spot removal, I can use it on the Plague Engineer and then continue plussing with the Liliana. And yeah, that definitely counts. I guess second mode really doesn't matter now, right? I don't have like a 1-drop. So yeah. For style points, we'll return a Bob. I could just not plus Liliana, which is interesting, and I think I actually will. Just not plus Liliana. Yeah, I don't think we're waiting there. I wanna attack. Like, I don't want to give the opponent more time. Like, draw stepping it is fine, but I really want to be able to play the Dark Confidant. Or I see what you're saying though. Like if I draw step it, it denies them one more draw step. But like they've got an instant response, it's just such a blowout, right? Because it's not a blowout, but like that's 3 points less that I've done to them. And like while I'm so ahead on resources, I like pressing advantage. Like I think giving them less time is what I want to be interested in. So I guess it's like what's more likely to happen, right? Is it more likely that they draw probably like you gotta imagine they have like 10 above average draws, right? I guess that's not actually true. Average is like more than half, right? So they need better than average, right? Like half their little less than half of their deck is going to be lands, and then some more stuff is going to be dead. We saw they kept an Inquisition Thought Seizes; those are all dead. We saw that they were playing. I guess like any of their spot removal is still also dead. The spot removal doesn't matter because they just respond, right? I think I like just dealing the damage there. It's real close. But yeah, the big misplay of that match was in game 2 with that spell bomb. Let's go first. Yes. On the draw, I'm definitely mulliganing this. On the play, this is probably acceptable. And I think I'm going to fetch Overgrown Tomb, because then I can fetch Basic Mountain to painlessly do something on the following turn if I want. I'm never fetching Basic Forest, so I'll lead on the worst fetch. Seachrome is interesting. It could be another version of the inverter deck. Against Seachrome in general, I really like casting Dark Confidant on turn 2. Like Snare would be unfortunate here, But their only removal with this is like Path, and if they're gonna Path me now, I'm pretty happy. Alright, so Opt is making me think that it is not Inverter. Because they don't really want to dump cards in their yard. And if they kill the Bob now, hopefully that gives me time to sneak in a Liliana. Yeah. Jeskai, huh? Our hand's good versus Jeskai. Less good now. So they're probably playing like Paths and some amount of land hate. So I think I'm going to try to avoid getting basics when possible. So like complete the trifecta here. And then I guess hope no force. And if it resolves, I'll ditch the Mire. Just keep the Peatland because I can cycle later, and then obviously keeping the spells. Alright, well that seems like it's a pretty simple discard. Just plus pitch a Blackleaf Cliffs, then Bloodbraid. It's another land, jeez. Alright, well Bloodbraid's probably the best thing you could cast into a counter, so jam it. And another threat would be good here. Bolt's not great. I really wanted to give them like two things that they had to deal with. Bolt they just hardly care about. Might be the actual worst case, to be honest. Like even Inquisition or Thoughtseize would have been better, because then I at least can see what's going on and even take a thing. But this was bad. Hicks. All right, so they get to I guess snap bolt the Bloodbraid. I guess if they were interested in bolting Bloodbraid, they would have done it before damage. So they're gonna kill Liliana here. And they shocked. Jeez. Does that mean we're facing Cryptic Command now too? Ravine. Ravine's a good one. You know, lead on attack. Yikes. Well, hopefully I get to stick a Tarmogoyf. Could still get mana leaked. I guess Remand doesn't do it because I could recast it. As long as they don't tap out a green. An attack. I'm a 4/5, so I guess a bolt would finish it off. Yeah, I don't think I'm taking the bait. I mean, they could very easily just like play Jace, unsummon this, and it can feel sad, but then I've got the Ravine to finish. Shock, nothing. That's scary. Bolt is not the card I want to see in the matchup. Because I'll lead on attack. I could activate Ravine, but that seems like a whole world of things can go wrong if I do that. So I'm just going to pass. Maybe they're just going to like Shark Typhoon for 3. Which I could bolt if I really felt like it. Third Snapcaster. Fat yikes. Yeah, Snap for days. Snap is almost definitely their best card against me. Maybe after Cryptic. Luistani Tuberello. Thank you for the follow. Sorry if I butchered the name, but I did my best. Do I activate the ravine in an attempt to block? They could very easily kill it, but at least then they'd have to do it on their turn. I don't dislike it entirely. Lightning Helix. Yeah. I mean, if we can find a way to put one more type in the yard, we've got lethal with Goyf and Bolt. Assuming they've got nothing, which is unlikely. Come on, deck. Bloodbraid. Basic Mountain. Another Tarmogoyf is not bad. I think I want to play it first, because I can't really attack if this doesn't resolve. Remand. Brutal. Alright, I guess I pass. I have to do that so I don't just die to any burn spell. I don't really have like a hasty thing I could combine the bolt with to surprise lethal them. Croxa is good. Short of escaping it, unfortunately. I guess I lead Goyf in the event the opponent has a mana leak as a leftover. And then I'll cast the Croxa. I mean, the opponent did shock last turn, and then they just proceeded to not use the mana, if I'm remembering correctly, which I might not be. I mean, they need two things to just kill me here. Is that the fourth Snapcaster? It is. It's only the fourth Snapcaster that kills me here, right? Because they needed an attacker. Just like casually the best card against me, all four of them in the top 20. Brutal. Jeez. Yeah, I mean, I almost beat 3. I can't beat 4. That's for certain. Spell Bomb. Probably Brutality. This is probably a Boil matchup, too. Kill a few lands. I need to cut 7 cards. I'm not liking Abrupt Decay, Terminate. Bolt is really not good here. Along some of the lines, Push also seems pretty bad a good amount of the time. And then I think I like cutting an Inquisition because Brutality does a similar job. Although Inquisition might actually just be better, right? Better than Brutality because like Inquisition hits Snapcaster. You think the concede was early? I was dead on board. I was at 4 and they had 4 powers worth of attackers. Like I was just dead. I don't see how that's early. They were swinging for 4. They had 2 Snapcasters in play. It was the 4th Snapcaster. Keep. Yeah, he was untapping for 4 power and we were at 4. We were 100% dead. They had 1 Snapcaster in play already, and then they flashed in another Snapcaster to get rid of the Tarmogoyf. Please no Bolt. I didn't bolt it yet. Okay, that means we're triggering. We could use the Kolaghan's command to deal with the Stoneforge if we want. Trigger. We hit a spell bomb. It's a lot less painful if I just get basic Swamp with the Verdant, and I think I actually like that. They are playing a Path deck. We don't have any of our other basics yet, so it doesn't seem super terrible to get our first one. And like, given that our clearest route to victory is this unanswered Dark Confidant, I think conserving my life total is going to equate to the most cards. So let's have them discard, shoot this out of the way, hope to not get Force of Negations. Alright, we get to attack. Sick. This is going alright. Any game where I get to trigger Dark Confidant, I feel pretty good. Alright, so we 3 for 1s, including the land that they're giving us. Do I want Swamp or Mountain? I guess my hand is more black hungry. Especially given the presence of Spell Bomb. And another one. Sure. Well, I mean, we were going to get to just Dark Confidant and Kolaghan's command again. Going to 13 to do so. We drew the forest again. We just love drawing this forest. So I guess it's less painful to just play the forest then, huh? I guess I can lead on Kolaghan's command, just do the same thing. I don't want them putting Batterskull into play. I could Kolaghan's command the Batterskull, but they've now got the mana available to counter it, and then I could just die to the Batterskull. They discarded Flooded Strands. Their hand is 2 equipment and 2 unknowns. About to be 3 unknowns. We're definitely ahead on cards right now. I mean, these Stoneforges have kind of been +1 each. To equip 2 lands. I mean, yeah, I mean, they haven't missed a land drop yet. Geist. Holy moly. We find a Liliana. Thank you, Dark Confidant. That would have been problematic with the sword. And I guess we still actually get to save a life if I don't shock. I could just play this tapped. I guess there's only Path in the yard. If they had the Snapcaster, they would have probably done that last turn, or at least to get rid of the Bob. So I think I'm going to basically conserve the 1 extra life and not play the Spell Bomb right now. I guess it's conserving 2 life. Doing well. Yeah, they can Batterskull next turn, but I guess yeah. I was gonna say I can plus to discard Croaks and then escape it, but I'm short of cards in the graveyard. All right, so now they're gonna Snap Path. Probably the Bob, right? Yeah. All right, all my basics are done. They do have 2 swords that I'm going to have to be careful of. Or 1 sword. So I guess I play Spellbomb, pop Spellbomb. There's a chance I can get Croaks into play this turn. Yeah, now I can do the thing. I do want to get Liliana up to 2, but I think I want to pop Spellbomb first, because like all the cards in my hand are good. Like I might just want to cast Croaks from my hand if I can't escape it immediately. There'll be 1 less card in the yard that the Spellbomb is sweeping away, but I still think I like doing this now to get more info, because I think with the information that I get from this is going to make my play significantly better one way or the other. Just another Spellbomb. Yeah, I like now I'm probably just going to double discard. I get to do actual everything now. I just play everything. So one of these equipment is getting taken care of. There goes Batterskull. We get to play Tarmogoyf. Get to play Spellbomb. And we get to plus. Discarded Jace the Mind Sculptor. So they're trying to keep a sort of protection from Tarmogoyf. Alright, well I guess I'm attacking because I'm not blocking if they've got protection. They'll get to kill my Liliana if they find spot removal for Tarmogoyf. But if that's the case, I get to just kill them. Well, like, unless it's a Lightning Helix. So they'll be at 10 and I get to attack for 10. I've even got a Ravine. Yeah, I mean, if they play a land, they get a land. They still just die, right? Like, if they hit me, I get to Edict them. And then if they hit the Liliana, they don't untap their stuff. So yeah, that's just a clean kill. Dark Confidant did the thing. Is there any reason to bring the Decay back in because it can kill swords? There's also maybe a reason to play the Plague Engineer because it looked like the best thing they could equip the equipment to are the Snapcasters, and I could always just name human with the Plague Engineer so that doesn't happen. It's interesting. I mean, the Decay is just like another answer to a Snapcaster, but it also kills the swords. Yeah, I do have 3 Kolaghan's commands for artifacts. This is true. So maybe it is overdoing it, which I guess is your point. I could definitely see that being the case. I mean, all of these other cards do pretty much the best thing that I could have them doing, right? Like, 1 mana discard is not really equatable to Abrupt Decay. They just do a different job. Like, I've got plenty of ways to kill creatures, right? Liliana, Kolaghan's Command, Lightning Bolt. Brutality as well at sorcery speed. Alright, let's I guess run this. I think on the draw I'm disfavored. Ooh. Ooh. Having a swamp is awkward. But Spellbomb is pretty good and Liliana is also pretty good. Mulliganing feels pretty bad. So I'm going to keep. It's like this hand needs to draw lands, but it needs to draw specific lands. So it's like, this hand could go very wrong, but it could also go pretty right. Alright, that's step 1 of going right. There's an argument to just playing Spellbomb here and maybe holding that for a turn where I'm trying to like sneak something through. Oh god. Wow, they just like kept 1 land double opt. Like, I've got the Lilianas to deal with whatever creatures, so I think I'm just gonna like try to land screw them. And like opt is also just like a fine card in the matchup. I obviously can't take a Jace, so I mean it's between Sword and Stoneforge. They bottomed with it, by the way. Yeah, maybe that was too greedy. Could definitely be too greedy. If they get Batterskull, they get to put it in now. Or, assuming I don't find anything. Yuck. Alright, yeah, I think I was too greedy. So I get to... I can play Ravine if I want to Liliana next turn. But they're going to have Batterskull in play by then. I've got other Liliana to deal with whatever second creature there is. Not a great spot. Yeah, I got greedy. I should have taken probably the Stoneforge. These Jaces are going to be a headache as well, unfortunately. They found the land, too. I guess this opt we don't know about. Ooh. Even that's 1 turn too late, though. If we cast Thoughtseize, they'll just shoot the Batterskull into play in response. I mean, I guess I still have to do it though, right? Because if they find the land, they could shoot the sword into play, and then equip the sword, and then on top of all that, they get to Jace me too. I mean, I guess I'll Thoughtseize play Goyf. Yeah, like I think it's reasonable to try to get lucky because like if they miss the land, these Lilianas just shred them apart. But I mean they hit the land in the top. I guess 3 cards they needed it in. So I guess I'll kill a sword and then somehow deal with all of the Jaces. I mean Goyf does outsize the Batterskull, but if they draw actually we know about the land. They can just go land bounce and then we're very, very behind. I mean, we have good draws in the deck. Like, if we could find Kolaghan's Command, kill Batterskull, kill Jace, these aren't that many extras that we'd have to deal with. So, like, Kolaghan's Command would be a really good draw. Yeah, land and Boil would be good, too. But, I mean, Kolaghan's Command we can cast on 3 mana. I mean, if I Goyf again, they have to make the same play again, and then I have the same outs. I guess if I Liliana now, I could Edict them, and then maybe other Liliana can get rid of the Germ. I think that's more likely to be good than just jamming another Goyf. Neither line is particularly attractive, but I think this has the highest chance of actually getting me ahead. This also lets them Brainstorm, though, which is pretty bad. Yeah, like Liliana minus at least applies some amount of resistance. Whereas like Goyfing just like continues the pillow fort of them just bouncing my thing and attacking. There's a land. I guess I'm just gonna go for Liliana minus. The issue is like they'll just like they could always just bounce the Batterskull and then replay it. Am I just drawing to Kolaghan's Command? I think I'm just drawing to Kolaghan's Command. If I brick, I could play Goyf. But I mean that's not great. I could just like Goyf Bob, then like they have to decide between which 2 to bounce. It doesn't seem great. I think I need to take the high risk line of try to find the way to deal with the Batterskull. There's no way this is gonna end up going well for me though. I'm at like less than 1% to win. I needed the line that I took had me needing them to miss on land, and they just didn't. Not that good card. I need a different good card. Okay, there's no land in the yard yet, so we will get to outsize this. Unless it gets countered. Kind of hard to not cast the spells here. I'm just going to fall more behind by not casting my stuff. Alright, any other burn spell, we're dead. Yep, we're dead. Alright, so my line did not work out. I mean, that's not to say that the other line would have. But the other line would have definitely worked better. And the other line was taking Stoneforge, leaving them with double Opt, double Jace. It's kind of close. Yikes. I mean, we've got the 2 lands that cast 3 of the spells in our deck. They did not reveal a companion. I'm gonna grudgingly keep. Alright, well that can't be good. The removal is probably going to be not great versus Glacial Fortress. Esper, okay. Lands, please. Green source now would be good. That's good versus Esper, but less good with how the hand is lining up. Not much to say here. Pretty bad. Like, if they snap opt, I'll probably end up having to push the snap. Yeah, and I'm gonna wait to push the snap, because if they really care to counter the fatal push, like, I'm pretty good with that, because that might hopefully clear the way for something bigger. Like, I just really don't care about this push getting countered. But I will kill it before I take damage. I'm very confident in just conceding here. There's just not really any coming back. Let's save the world some time. Alright, Esper. Boil. Spell bombs again. Brutalities again. We can take all this stuff out. Take out a bolt. Take out all the pushes. And then one more. Just make it a brutality. It's good in the matchup, but it's I don't think it's significantly better than any of the stuff just in the main deck. I guess. Bloodbraid is one of the better cards in the matchup, but it's going to be a lot worse if I've got nothing to do in between now and then. Got infinite counters and a Jace. Let's just take the Jace. It's the only like non-super redundant thing they've got going. And counters are already not super strong versus the Bloodbraids. Alright, well of course, had I known I was drawing exactly Dark Confidant, I would have taken the Spell Snare. Do I still want to just cast it? Probably not, to be honest. I'll just hold it. Glacial Fortress, yep. Eventually going to need a 4th land for the Bloodbraids. That's a fine one. I mean, that might just get leaked, but if they leak that, that means that I have a window to resolve Dark Confidant, which seems good. And then I think I will just sacrifice this at the opponent's end step to maximize the chance that I hit my 4th land on time for the Bloodbraid. Because it would be a pretty big deal to be able to do so. You also got to make Logic Knot slightly worse. Come on, deck. Don't fail me. Come on, deck. Okay. So now I actually have the choice between casting Bloodbraid or going double 2-drop. I think I actually like casting double 2-drop, leading on Tarmogoyf. With the way we know that the opponent's hand is lined up, it's just counterspells, right? And like Bloodbraid is the best to cast into counterspells. They can only cast one right now, so like this would be the window where I get to resolve one of these and still have my best stuff for later. So I think I'm going to lead on the weaker of the two and try to bait out a counter spell this way. Because I'd much rather Dark Confidant stick around. There's the leak. Fedizano 97. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Alright, so I'll go to 14 here off of a Stomping Ground. Darn. They missed the land, though. We hit a Croxa. Alright. I know I mentioned that the Bloodbraid is kind of the better card to cast into counter spells, but I mean, we've got so many of them, and Croxa doesn't actually add to the board here while the opponent is missing lands. So I think I like just slamming the Bloodbraid, and Bolt has got to be the worst hit. Just doesn't actually impact the board in a meaningful way. Does help the clock a little bit, I guess. It's not really what we're lacking right now, though. So now they've got all of the counter spells potentially available. It's a good one, but let's keep on casting Bloodbraid Elves into the counter magic. Now we hit Kolaghan's Command. Okay, that's better. So I guess we can return a Tarmogoyf, have the opponent discard. I could do 2 damage, but I really don't like the race-based modes. I like the card advantage-based modes. So let's try to return a Tarmogoyf and have the opponent discard. Like, I mean, if this gets countered, we get to attack for 6, and they're already going to be at 8 if that's the case. They Cryptic go, like, counter bounce Bloodbraid, or I guess they would never bounce Bloodbraid. They would, I guess, tap it. They would take 3, but we still have 2 Bloodbraids in play. Like, this Kolaghan's Command is good. Sure. I will not pay 1. Yeah, I mean, wait 2 for 1 them. Like, the Bloodbraids are really good to cast into the counters, and we're seeing it here. So they've got Snare plus 3 unknowns. And the rest of our hands is very good. Alright, I mean, they continue to have counters, I'll continue to have Bloodbraids. Liliana of the Veil, that's also a good one. If it resolves, I'll plus away and discard the Blackleaf Cliffs. Which was the reason to not have played this first. Counter draw. Yep. Feels like a victory for me. They get to keep Snare up, but that doesn't actually do anything right now. I guess, like, they'll get to counter the escaped part of Croxa, which will be unfortunate. But, I mean, next turn we're going to get to Kolaghan's Command and play Croxa. Or, I guess not in that order. Probably going to Croxa first. But whatever I do now, I'm going to do in my second main. Because, like, now they're forced to do something because I can just go to combat and kill them. So, like, I can at least force them to partially tap out. I guess, like, Snapcaster into Cryptic tap draw would be the worst case. And I could cast Goyf, but it gets spell snared, and that might be overextending into a Supreme Verdict or something like that. I think I'm just gonna lead on Croxa here and see what they discard, because there's a good chance I want to Kolaghan's Command to buy back the Bloodbraid Elf, and like now that they know that we've got Croxa, they might just discard the Snare, but they need the Snare for second half of Croxa, so it's a rough spot for them. And then I think I'm just going to Kolaghan's Command now, have the opponent discard a card, because we know that they can't counter it outside of discarding both of their cards to a Force of Negation, or using both of their cards. So we'll return the Hasty Bloodbraid Elf, have the opponent discard a card. And like if they use a force here, the only thing that gets them out of this is like a Supreme Verdict, but even then we've got a Kroxa on standby. So it feels just like a good spot to be in. Sick. Up a game, or not up a game, tied, going to game 3. We're on the draw though, so that's definitely a disadvantage. Just gonna resubmit. Yeah, so I still think there's some consideration to playing things like Abrupt Decay, but I don't think there's reason enough. It'd be like Small Teferi would be, I guess, the best case target. But I mean, trying to like 1-for-1 things like Teferi seems like a losing battle. I mean, they get to minus it and out tempo you. Doesn't seem great. I mean, killing Teferi is probably pretty important though, because things like Bloodbraid are our best plays, I think. And Bloodbraid's Cascade does get turned off by a Small Teferi. Yeah, this hand's a keeper. It's going to need some lands to be good, but it's got some of our better cards. What I'm missing most out of this is like a Dark Confidant. And this might be one of the cases where I actually don't want to Inquisition on one, because I may want to pair it. Oh, and there's the Bob. All right, so now I'm going to cast the Inquisition, because if I want the Bob to stick, I'm going to need to clear the way. Yikes. They've got Gust, Snapcaster, Teferi. I think I'm taking Teferi here. I get to like play Bob on 2, but then they get to just like play third land and bounce my thing, which does not feel good. Lands? Also fine. So, I mean, given the information we have right now, the Dark Confidant is resolving. We would love for it to find us some additional lands, assuming it does stick. Darn. Alright, lands please. Lands please. Okay. So I can just hold up Blood Crypt. But what I think I want to do here is cast Kroxa, have the opponent discard without the information, and then I can Inquisition either the Snapcaster or the Gust. Just gonna Gust that. I think I'm actually going to bottom it. So many of my draws are better. Is that crazy? No, like there's so much stuff that I want to find. Let's just shock this. Cast Inquisition. They've got land, cryptic. It's gonna be hard to beat, to be honest. I mean, I can Kolaghan's Command on the opponent's turn to make them use their mana more awkwardly, which is the plan. There's the land. So I could just jam Bloodbraid. I don't think that forces out the Cryptic. But I mean, it's the best thing to cast into Cryptics, and Bloodbraid is also a better Kolaghan's Command target. So I think I'm actually just gonna jam. I guess I'll get Swamp, basic Swamp. If I buy back this Dark Confidant, I'm gonna want to have the most time possible for it to be good, which means I want to conserve some life. 12 is not super high. It's healthy, but it's not ridiculous, and I really don't want to get Forest because that doesn't escape Croxa. So I think I'm just gonna get basic Swamp. And then hope to hit something impactful. Don't want to hit something like a lightning bolt. Alright, that's impactful. That might force the Cryptic. And it does. Counter draw. Alright, so I don't feel ahead, but I feel very close. They're not doing anything, huh? So maybe they're just continuing to hold up counter magic. I mean, I'm probably just going to Kolaghan's Command during the opponent's turn. Do I want to upkeep it to minimize the chance that they've got like an actual way to counter it? I believe that I do. So I'm going to have the opponent discard and return a Dark Confidant. I don't think we're quite at the stage where I want to just throw damage to the opponent's face with the Kolaghan's Commands. I still think this is a card advantage game until the opponent gets to like 6 or lower. Yep. Cannot pay. Peatland is fine. I get to Tarmogoyf and Kolaghan's Command if I want. Let's lead on attack. And if I Kolaghan's Command now, getting back Dark Confidant, if it works, I get to play the Dark Confidant now. But I think it's less likely. I think I still want to do it on my opponent's turn though, to like make them use their mana on their turn. So, I mean, I guess I just play Tarmogoyf. I mean, they kind of have to counter whichever I do first, right? Like, they're countering one of the two. And if it's I guess I actually want to play Goyf first, right? Because then it plays around Mana Leak the best. Like, they could just Mana Leak the creature that I get back. So, let's go Peatland, and to best player on Leak will lead on the thing that leaves 2 mana available. We're not close to getting Supreme Verdicted. The opponent doesn't have double white. And then now on their upkeep again, I can go for Kolaghan's Command again. And now 2 damage at the opponent's face is actually interesting. They're gusting. Alright, so I'll just do this now then. So let's have the opponent discard a card, return a Dark Confidant. So let's return Dark Confidant, have you discard a card. And then based on whether or not this resolves, which I guess it has to, we can determine where we want to put the Tarmogoyf, which I think is top. Top. Yeah. They're untapping with 4 lands and only 2 cards. I think I want to just give them as many things to deal with as I can possibly push. So we're drawing Tarmogoyf. Let's lead on attack. To 6, I think. Okay. So again, I'm gonna try to play around Mana Leak. So I think it's more important that Dark Confidant resolve. I guess that might not be true because like if Tarmogoyf resolves, we've got lethal attacks. So I guess at this stage it's almost better just ensure that the Tarmogoyf resolves if I can play on Mana Leak only once. And then I could get Supreme Verdicted, which would be bad, but the last card would have to be Supreme Verdict, and they'd have to top deck the white source. So while it's a risk, I think I like it, because if they've got only one removal spell, it gets much. We could still not just kill them, and that could give them more time to dig out. Did they really just like top deck the white source and have the verdict? That would be tilting. No way. Alright. Had to hit the white source and have the verdict. I mean, we still have a bunch of draws that just kill them. Kroxa does it. Bolts do it. Jeez. I can't believe I might lose this game. Brutal. I mean, I think it's way more likely that the opponent just like draws any removal spell. But I mean, I guess then they would need something on top of that, so maybe it was just risky. I recognize that I was overextending. Okay. And upkeep it. It's a GG's. Hey. So, in hindsight, I don't even know that that line was correct. It was definitely close. Like, they had to have exactly verdict and they had to have verdict and the white source. And whichever one they didn't have, they had to top deck. Like, if they don't have, if neither of those things are true, like if they don't have either of those two and top deck the other one, like if they just draw a removal spell or like a cryptic or something, I no longer just kill them anymore because they were at 5. That's out of range. Icy Devil, thank you for the follow. Yeah, we got a keeper. We've got the Dream Curve. Ooh, is it Prowess? Alright, well, unfortunately, Dark Confidant is not going to be looking very good here. I'm almost definitely just going to take a creature here. And I think that's going to be the Swift Spear because that's just going to save me the most life. And then this Dark Confidant is almost definitely just going to be used as a discard to the Liliana. Alright, so they played Bloodstained Mire. And I guess I'm going to play Overgrown Tomb tapped. And then I'll just push the Sprite Dragon. I guess it's actually better to play Verdant here, right? Because I'm going to get to save life if I draw a basic as opposed to having to shock even once. Like, I get to get this tap, I still get to cast Fatal Push. And if I draw, like, my other basic Swamp or, like, a Blackleaf Cliffs, I effectively didn't waste 1 or 2 life. So I think Verdant here is probably good. They're going to Sprite Dragon. Or did you draw something different? Morphos. Okay, so maybe they're trying to power out a Stormwing. They've got it. Okay, I mean I do have the Liliana though, which is kind of the perfect answer. And they split the difference top bottom, by the way. So we get Stomping Ground here. And then just shock in Overgrown Tomb and Edict that thing. They'll get to Lava Dart, which is unfortunate. But this is Liliana is just about the best answer that I have to the Stormwing. Mountain is a new one, so is Swift Spear. So this is their hand. So I'm just gonna kill their 2 creatures is the plan, and then hope that the burn is not enough to get there. Is there any reason to Kolaghan's Command having the opponent discard a card? I don't think so. I mean, I could also just use my cheaper removal now. Unfortunately, none of these spells ever kill another Stormwing entity. I mean, I guess I save the most life, assuming I want to get a duel with this, if I just use the push and the decay. And, like, it's also possible that the Kolaghan's Command actually ends up with a second good mode later. Alright, I'm going to be sure to wait until my end step to fetch, because I don't want to turn on the opponent's light up the stage for them. It's entirely possible, probably actually likely, that I should have actually just used the Kolaghan's Command in the push last turn, like on my opponent's turn, because Kolaghan's Command isn't ever going to be guaranteed to kill anything, because one Prowess trigger will get it out of range, but push is always going to kill something. So maybe a small misstep there. This is looking like easy Blood Crypt. Really need to find some pressure of my own, though, like Tarmogoyf, Bloodbraid, Kroxa. Redraw. Tarmogoyf. Excellent. That was a big hit. So now we don't want to see, like, a, the 1-2 with Prowess that doesn't have haste. I never remember the name of it. Like, we don't want their bolt shrinking my Goyf. Top and bottom. Bolt me. It's use it or lose it. Soul Scar. Thank you, Icy Devil. I appreciate it. Alright, so they've got Lava Dart and 2 unknowns. I am at 12. Hey, that's pretty good. Let's just jam it. Try to get this game over with. Vapor Snag the Goyf. Annoying. And I still have an attacker. Ooh, we hit Inquisition. They could just Lava Dart us and have a blank. Alright, they don't have a blank. Let's take the redraw. Feeling pretty good. Like something ridiculous would have to happen. They'd have to like draw another copy of Sprite Dragon and then like go off with this Lava Dart and something else. I think that's like the fail rate at this point. Barring that, I'm feeling good. Alright, Tarn is good for me. Bedlam Reveler would also be bad for me if they're playing that. More Goyfs, that's good. Second Goyf might just be enough to face down a Bedlam Reveler if the opponent finds one. Alright, make sure not to tap both of my green sources like a dingus. We did it. And go. So 5-6 piece. Those are some big Goyfs. We did it. Alright, so gonna have to be worried about Blood Moon. If the opponent is playing Bedlam Reveler, which I assume they are at least out of the board, Spell Bomb is going to be pretty important to answer that proactively. And I do also like Brutality. I think when you play this, you just have to be careful that the -2/-2 mode is actually going to be able to kill something if that's the goal, which I think it is going to be most of the time. I think I'm cutting all of the Kolaghan's commands It also only does 2 damage, which isn't going to kill a lot of the time. It's kind of a similar argument with Brutality, but like this one is at least 3 mana. 3 is more than 2. Instant speed better than Sorcery though, but this has a few good other modes. Let's cut some Thoughtseizes. Thoughtseize I have a love-hate relationship with here, right? Because it takes Bedlam Reveler and it takes Stormwing, but losing 2 life versus basically a burn deck feels pretty bad. You think they're bringing in Spell, Pierce, and Moon? Yeah, I think that's also pretty likely. I like the Inquisitions a fair amount. Oh, let's cut the Bob, sorry. Bob definitely coming out. So that actually leaves me with some room to bring stuff back. I don't like the Kolaghan's commands a lot, but it's probably better than Thoughtseize. If the opponent's playing Blood Moon, we could actually Cleansing Wildfire to get out from under it. That actually seems good. So they bring in Soul Guide to control Glyphs. That makes some sense. But yeah, I think I like the Cleansing Wildfires. It lets us get out from under Blood Moon if that ever becomes a thing we're worried about, which I think it will be. Do not think we can keep this one, unfortunately. If we have a red source, or if we have a black source on top. If we have a black source on top, this hand still might not win. We don't have any, like, actual this card kills a card type cards. Like, Brutality does that, but at a risk. Yeah, like, we gotta mull this again. It feels pretty bad. I don't think I'm going to 4. Just bottom a tap land. This is probably gonna get... I guess we already have basic Swamp. This is bottom Stomping Ground. Don't think we're taking this one. Eyelid on 1 though. Relic, okay. They didn't have a 1-drop and they didn't have another good land. We drew Forest, which is actually not the worst. Just because of Blood Moon. Like, obviously lands are bad, but if we're gonna find a land, I'm glad it's that one. They didn't find the land? What? Alright, well, I can't really reasonably play Tarmogoyf here, considering it'll die on the spot. Unfortunately, my opponent... I'm unable to punish my opponent's slow start. Uh-oh. Yep. Yeah, I mean, this makes some sense. If they're going to keep a 1-lander, it's going to be high reward. And then I think I really need to find, like, a Liliana or something. So I'm probably just going to pop the Spell Bomb now. Yeah, I'm cycling the bomb. Nope. Croxa. I mean, the Goyf is never really going to get outside of bolt range because of this Relic, unfortunately. And the Relic is also going to make this Croxa pretty awkward. Unfortunately, I think I just kind of have to play the Goyf and be sad about it. I could Cleansing Wildfire the opponent's Fiery Islet in an attempt to take them off of blue and just redraw in the wake of none of my other cards actually being good. And that might actually just be the best line. Let's do it. Like, playing these two things doesn't actually make much headway either. This at least has some amount of upside. Can we draw like a lightning bolt right now or something? No. Alright, well, if we really have to, we can abrupt decay this relic in order to get the Goyf ball rolling. It's going to make things even harder than they are. I mean, if I can find exactly a bolt now, then maybe I can like decay the sprite and then get lucky with the Stormwing. It is not looking like it will be the case though. If I play Forest, I can play Tarmogoyf and decay Sprite Dragon. Then there's still only one thing that I have to deal with. I think this still has me very behind, but I don't have a much better play. Also, playing Goyf will hopefully incentivize the opponent to like actually use the relic, so I can start building my own yard for the Kroxa. Bummer. Bummer. Lava Dart. Yes. So there will unfortunately not be a window to kill something and have Goyf stay alive. They didn't get the other half of Lava Dart, so I guess that's a small victory. Kill that. Brutality. Okay. Okay. That actually gets somewhere, right? I get to try to kill this Mentor, and then maybe escape Kroxa sooner rather than later. I think I'm going to full escalate this. The thing is, I need the Mire as a second red source. So I guess I pitch Kroxa and Peatland. Mutagenic growth. Brutal. And they're using it on their turn at least. Hopefully I get to take something else. Just all the threats. Brutal. Well, we had the read on Reveler, so that's good. They actually can't cast anything else, which is funny. Need the red to escape Kroxa, so I have to fetch. Yeah, Relic with Reveler is quite the non-bow. And I don't think I'm in the position where I am ever able to willingly fetch again. I mean, if I can find a way to kill the Stormwing entity, Kroxa's gonna gum up the ground pretty well. I mean, they're gonna get hit us for 3 again, putting us to 2, which also just puts us in range of any burn spell ever. Alright, or they could just do that. That also works. Any changes to be made? I guess like Plague Engineer can proactively deal with the sprites, but it doesn't seem good enough. I think I'm just gonna resubmit. I'd love to go first. Yeah. We have Inquisition on 1, Tarmogoyf on 2, Lilion on 3, and another removal spell. We're soft to Blood Moon as far as green is concerned. Might have to take something like a relic if we see one. We do see a relic. And they've got the Reveler again. Their hand is not good. I do want this Goyf to be good, so I'll take that. We've got Bolt for the Sprite Dragon. So there goes the Spire Bluff Canal. Spellbomb is a good pickup. That can compete with the Bedlam Reveler at some point. We get to stick Tarmogoyf here, which is pretty big, and it's out of already all of the burn spells ranges. I think Stomping Ground a pretty clear selection here. We definitely need to get green, and we don't care about third black before first red. So we know all of the hands but one card. If the opponent's last card is exactly Mutagenic Growth, then I will have wished to have kept the Bolt. I still think I want to keep this Liliana for Stormwing entities. It's my only good answer to that outside of Bedlam outside of Terminate. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cast Collective Brutality off of Double Swamp, trying to give -2/-2. And then if this doesn't work, I'll still have Bolt. Alright, and it just works. Cool. And now I get to play Spell Bomb and attack. Feeling good. Alright, they're very far from casting Bedlam Reveler. Unless they like chain a bunch of Manamorphoses, I feel great. I think they probably wanted to play the Islet with the intention of sacrificing the Islet. Let's just keep attacking. There is not yet an instant in the yard. Is there any reason to Bolt first just to grow Goyf? Does that significantly change the clock in any way? It'll put them to 13. And we can hit them for 5 down to 8. And that actually means that next turn, if we connect, we can Bolt them just dead. So I actually do think a Bolt here makes sense. Let's just get into combat first. The thing that would, I guess, bite me the most is if the opponent plays like Vapor Snag as one of the 2 cards we don't know about. But I think the upside of getting them dead next turn outweighs the downside of maybe they have Vapor Snag, which isn't even the end of the world. If you type... Actually, did I update it in Stream Deck? I think I did. If you type !deck in the chat, here, I'll do it. That will take you to the list that I'm playing. !deck list also works. Is there any reason to pop the Spell Bomb? I don't think that there is. Another Goyf is a solid pickup. I guess still only Mutagenic Growth gets this out of range, and I still think I want to keep this for a potential Storming entity. Maybe it just doesn't matter as much anymore. I mean, I guess I should attack first, right? Because like they kind of have to block anyway. So let's just go straight to attack, I think. And then if they do have a burn spell of some kind, I could just respond. And if they don't block, I'll just Bolt them and kill them. So this seems by far the safest way to go about it. And then I can just play other copy of Tarmogoyf. And then they should just be dead next turn no matter what. Yep. Swift Spear, sure. They still have no spells in their yard for the Bedlam Reveler. In fact, sacking it on their yard shrinks my Goyf, so I'm not even going to do that. Inquisition. Yeah, I guess I'll just lead there. I still don't think I want to cast the Bolt, because the Bolt is probably going to be used to go face or kill the last thing. And I could always just respond to whatever they're responding with after this resolves. And also, like, if this resolves and I see the coast is clear, I have the green light to just kill him. Yep, that's fine. Alright, so they're dead. Because I get to just bolt them, and then either Goyf getting past the Swift Spear means they die. This is a 3-4. We're at 5-6s. Yep, this works. They must block. Go to 3. Bolt does 3. Zap. Three and 1. We're at least guaranteed the Jund 5-0, which is a 3-2. The 5th and final round. Yeah, sounds acceptable. If we're playing any kind of mid-range or control matchup, this hand looks excellent. If we're playing against anything aggro-y or big mana-y, this hand looks less good. Oh no. This could very easily be Heliod Company. I want to play against Heliod Company more. I want to play against Red-Green Ponza. They named Red, though, so it's Ponza. my least favorite matchup. I at least have ways to get all my basics, so that's nice. I hate playing this matchup. Not just because it's not good, just because I hate the card Blood Moon. Hate the card Blood Moon. MILF Drifter, thank you for the follow. I appreciate your follow. Alright, so let's just get our basics here. They didn't just immediately Blood Moon me, so maybe they don't have it, but I still want to avoid them just drawing it. This is gonna get like stomped or just bolted. Yeah, bolt works too. Show me the Blood Braid. We know you've got it. Alright, well, as far as Blood Braid hits goes, that one's better for us than most. Although it does represent 2 mana next turn. I guess I want a Liliana minus, but that really doesn't achieve much. I mean, I guess if we kill the Arbor Elf with it, that cuts them off of 2 mana. In fact, I think I might actually want to just bolt the Arbor Elf and keep the Lilianas for hopefully something better. And I guess I'm going to get basic mountain here. The Bobs versus Ren and 6. The Bobs have been absolutely excellent. And in general, Ren and 6 has been absolutely terrible. If you want a more, I guess, thought out reasoning for why that is, I like my past like 10 or so leagues. So that's a lot of content to cover. So I'll try to give you the TLDR in a sec. But let's kill this elf. By elf I mean the smaller of the two. Basically, like Ren and 6 doesn't really kill anything right now, and buying back lands just is not meaningful unless you want to combo it with your cycling lands. And Dark Confidant does pretty much the same thing as Ren and 6, except it attacks better, and you don't need to combo it with lands. It just does it all on its own. And additionally, buying back lands is not the same as buying back spells, and Dark Confidant finds spells, and spells are great, and lands aren't. Yeah, just versus mid-range and control decks, I have just found Bob to be aeons better than Ren and 6. Alright, well I guess I'm going to go for the Hail Mary, right? Like, I could Liliana minus here, but that doesn't really achieve much. They'll just sacrifice the Seasoned Pyromancer. And I don't ever Volt! You're killing me. Someone followed. Sahia, thank you for the follow. Sorry if I said that wrong, but I think I got it. Let me know if I'm off. But yeah, I've done like my most recent handful of leagues have been on and off of Ren and 6, and I think in almost all of the leagues where I've played the Ren and 6, like every time that I've drawn it, I've just been like, gee, I wish this was a Bob. And then every time that I've had the Bob in the leagues where I'm playing Bob, I'm like, wow, I'm really happy this was a Bob and not a Ren and 6. It's just funny how often it occurs. Alright, Hail Mary again. You love your Bobs? Yeah, Bob is awesome. Speaking of Bob, we hit it when we're at 2. Greatness at any cost. I should have attacked there. Any burn spell just kills me anyway, so I definitely should have just attacked. Oh, I guess this is the line that means I shouldn't have attacked, so good on me for being wrong. They had Pillage. They're playing Gargaroth. Jeez. Yeah, X2s are annoying. There goes Basic Forest. They're just going to see if I die to the Bob. Yeah, probably will. Or not. Well, if I'm going to have a choice, if I'm going to have a hope at having a green source again, I need to fetch for a green source end step. And I need to start winning. Right? I could terminate my own Bob, but then I'm just dying to the onboards. They cannot actually flashback the Seasoned Pyromancer quite yet, so let's cast this Terminate. And then ship with the Bloodbraid. If I'm blocking with Bob, so let's just ship with Bloodbraid. And then if they attack, I'll block. And then if they don't attack for whatever reason... Oh, God. If they don't attack for whatever reason, I'm still going to get Stomping Ground. Like, I need my mana sources to start pulling ahead. So, like, I'm not going to just not get my green. Alright, this has me never casting Liliana again, but that's kind of a given at this point anyway. Can I dodge? Probably not. Nope. Alright. Red, green, mid-range. I hate this matchup so much. Okay, so Plague Engineer for Elemental. Well, Cleansing Wildfire can get us out from under a Blood Moon. That's kind of it. Like, I don't think Spellbomb is going to be strong enough to like just deal with the back end of a Seasoned Pyromancer. They're playing Gargaroth, so I almost definitely need to keep in stuff like Terminate. Decay can hit a moon. Liliana can also kill stuff like Gargaroth, but it's really weak in the face of like Bloodbraid and Seasoned Pyromancer, which the opponent is presumably playing like 8 of. I think I'm going to, I guess, cut a push. Maybe I just cut all of them, to be honest. Like, the best thing that push kills is, like, maybe Bloodbraid, and that's just conceding a 2-for-1. I mean, I guess it kills, like, corner case stuff like Baloth, but that also doesn't seem like a game where I'm really pulling ahead. Maybe I cut one Bob versus the probable Ren and 6 deck. But, I mean, Bob is going to be one of my better cards, assuming I can get it going. Let's cut maybe just the one. Then one other cut. Hand Disruption tends to be pretty bad in mid-range mirrors, but they've got so many heavy hitters. And I just like some cards I just have to take, like Blood Moon, or else I just die. Yeah, I agree that like if you've got the Bob and your opponent has the Ren and 6, like it feels pretty bad to have your Bob just die. But there's really only one matchup where that ever comes up. I guess 2, counting this one. This and the Jund Mirror. And like in a vacuum, like if I'm gonna have, assuming I have the Bob and you don't have the Ren and 6, or I have the Ren and 6 and you, assuming I have the Bob and you don't have the answer, or I have the Ren and 6 and you don't have the answer, I think the Dark Confidant is just gonna be better. Like it's more fragile, only by a little bit. And it's just better if you can keep the ball rolling, and keeping the ball rolling is not that difficult. I have about 10 to 20 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna eat before.
Okay. Let's go first. Well, the Sand's got my basics and the Bob, but I don't think 6 lands is a winning formula. This is better. I guess I bottom Peatland. I can go Blackleaf Cliffs on 1 and then maybe bolt a 1-drop. I'll still have all my basics. I really don't want to get Forest because that makes it awkward with Kroxa, but like I need to get Forest and not just die to the moon. Ren and 6 temporary, Bob forever. This is true. Alright, can we draw one of our Cleansing Wildfires, please? No. Alright, well, I guess I'm playing this to play around Blood Moon. Can't exactly Kroxa and play around the moon. That card is going to be hard to beat. Not even going to fetch, right? Because if I don't fetch, that's at least a turn where Klothys doesn't get to hit something. Jeez, Liliana, huh? This card is so busted versus us. I guess I'm just going to go stomping around pass. I think Liliana is going to be probably better used just as an edict the turn after the opponent plays something. And like plus here, there's so many things that could go wrong, including the onboard the opponent just like has Klothys to start eating things. And I guess I am a little bit more comfy getting basic Forest now, because like Klothys makes Kroxa just straight not matter anyway. Jam. Yeah, this matchup is very tough. They just have like infinite things that are good versus us. Hit the Wildfire though. A little late. But better late than never. Another Liliana, not excellent. Yeah, like Bloodbraid is really hard for us. Seasoned Pyromancer is really hard. Klothys is really hard. Elder Gargaroth, Glorybringer. Literally every threat in the deck is something we don't want to see. And then on top of all of that, we have to like work around Blood Moon. I've had people suggest Unravel the Aether before. There's the moon. All right, well we've got our basics at least. Shuts off both the Lilianas. I think it's just a bit too narrow. Damn. All right, well, our whole hand is locked out for basically forever. I guess I'll attack first in case the opponent discards like a Bailoff or something to this Kroxa. Maybe they just don't cast the Kroxa until they have like one thing left. There's just like not a chance that this is actually going to be impactful when cast here. Maybe I can at least snipe the last card in their hand. It does also deal with the moon. But I mean, if you Aether Gust the moon or whatever it is, I still feel like I'm losing to just like everything else in the deck. Alright, we need exactly another Lightning Bolt or a Terminate. I mean, I'll leave up Lightning Bolt mana in case this hits another Lightning Bolt. Or a Liliana, I guess. We hit Liliana? Okie dokie. Opponent says wow. I mean, yes. Wow indeed. Alright. If they somehow have nothing, I guess we still don't kill them next turn, right? Because like they're just going to gain 2. And then they're still out of range. Yeah, I mean, it deals with the Wormcoil. There's a lot of corner case stuff that it'll deal with. The issue is though, like, when you bring that in versus the decks where it deals with the corner case stuff, you still just die to the rest of the deck. Like, I feel like you have to attack the deck more at a core level. Hey, Goyf is good. Yeah, Green Ascendancy cost. This is true. Alright, well... Lead on a plus. Ditch a Liliana that's never getting cast. Thing is, if I attack both, I can bolt an Elemental to keep a Bloodbraid alive. Or I could just bolt the Seasoned Pyromancer. And then play Tarmogoyf. I think I'm going to go for the Bolt if they double block. I just like need to keep attackers alive. Also, killing all of their creatures means that Liliana could potentially be worth another Edict, which is cool. Do I Kroxa now? I still think it's probably better used hitting the opponent's last card. It could also be used as like the last 3 points of burn that we need. I guess let's just say go. But yeah, this cloth is being redonkulous. They're getting lands? Or they're making mana, rather. If they play like a Gargaroth here, we've got the Liliana in play to kill it. Maybe they just wanted to do this and hold up a Bolt. Ren at 6. Okay, well that's probably one of the better hits for me. Given that it doesn't actually impact the board in a way. Oh, I guess it does impact the board in this way. Make Goyf a 0/1, yeah. Brutal. Kill that, brutal. So I lied about the thing that I just said. This is really bad for me. Yeah. Don't think it's going to end up mattering. We're very, very dead. I guess I get to kill the Renin 6, which turns off the Colossus from being a creature. Also lets me stick up Bob. Sure. Sure. Jeez. Alright, well, I'll block Bloodbraid, which is going to hopefully turn Clothis off again. Bolt. Yes, but the thing is, like, Clothis and Moon won them the game here, which is I think an argument in my favor, right? Because like you get rid of one thing, we still just die to the other thing. Like the point is like the whole deck, is just cards that beat me. So like getting rid of one card that beats me doesn't take out the other 5 cards that beat me. Like it doesn't seem like enough, you know. There's just still not a good window to cast this Kroxa. So like what has to happen now? They have to have like actual nothing. Alright, well that's not actual nothing. That just has us dead. Yikes. Okay, we're dead. So we did the Jun's 5-0, which is a 3-2. Alright, so I'll do a quick deck tech / wrap up for purposes of the recording, and then I'll hang out for a few more minutes after the recording ends so I can talk some Jun. Alright, so I guess the card that overperformed for me the most, no surprise, Dark Confidant. There were 2 matchups where it was bad, and there were 3 matchups where it was good. And then the 3 matchups where it was good, it not single-handedly won me the game, but netted me a crap ton of cards while attacking. I think it was probably the biggest contributing factor to the 2 wins that we had versus the control decks. So I think Bob's still just absolutely excellent, because Ren and 6 just would not have been good in literally any of the matches that we played. Like even against the 2 matchups where the Bob wasn't good, which would have been the Prowess opponent and the recent red-green midrange opponent. Like you just don't want Ren and 6 in that matchup either. So it's kind of a moot point to favor Ren and 6 over Dark Confidant in the context of exactly those 2 matchups. I just think Dark Confidant is better right now. The Kolaghan's commands were pretty good. The 2 damage mode didn't kill a lot of what I was facing, but I played against Stoneblade once, and they were obviously excellent there. And like the other modes can only ever be so bad. Like against Control, which we played against a few times, including the Stoneblade opponent, the discard a card mode was very good, and the Shatter a card mode was very good because there are lots of artifacts that we had to deal with. I still like having all the cheap interactive removal spells because creature combo is big right now, i.e. Heliod. We were just talking about that, and it's also great versus the many burn and prowess decks going around. I still think a 4-2 split of Inquisition and Thoughtseize is probably fine. I could definitely see switching to 3-3 sometime soon. You'll lose points with a 3-3 split versus the aggro stuff, but versus all of the combo stuff and the mid-range stuff, Thoughtseize might be better. Goyf, there's not really much to say there. Still just the big, best generic 2-mana beater that is available to basically anyone playing green. And then the Kroxas were also very good. Excellent versus control, excellent versus mid-range, and even fine versus the combo decks that need some amount of critical mass, because discarding a card mode on it can be super relevant. So I just think this card is an absolute powerhouse. I personally don't understand why anyone would play anything less than 3. 4 is a bit much maybe because it's legendary and it doesn't actually add to the board. But I want to see this card such a high percentage of the time that I think 3 is pretty much the perfect number for this card. And then Liliana has still been very, very good. We played against Control a few times. We played against Aggro a few times. And Liliana just really, really good against pretty much everything. And then it's also great at turning your bad cards, or at least your cards that are less good, into a quote-unquote usable resource in the plus. Like you can still use your cards that aren't as good to use with your Liliana to hopefully trade up when your opponent discards something better. So, I mean, I still think the Liliana is really good here. I still think the K commands are great. Bloodbraid obviously still excellent. I think Bloodbraid is still probably a snap 4 of. If the format ever speeds up more or becomes more combo-y, I can definitely see going down on the Bloodbraid. But there is just a huge chunk of control and a huge chunk of mid-range out there, and Bloodbraid is just kind of the best card to combat those. The sideboard did really well. We didn't play against big mana at all or any mana related combo like Storm, so we didn't bring in the spheres. We brought in the Wildfires a couple times when we were afraid of Blood Moon. Didn't play against any. Actually, we did play against Island X. We brought in the Boil twice, just didn't see it. The Engineers, I think, were probably the least exciting sideboard card. The Brutalities we brought in pretty much every time, and similarly the Spell Bombs, except for that last match. The Spell Bombs were very good. So I think I really like the sideboard. We just didn't play the big mana for this half of the sideboard to really shine. Like, the main deck, I think, felt pretty fine. I don't remember what the loss was to in round 2, but obviously you if you're still watching at this point, you saw the loss in match 5, and that matchup I think is just like actually harmless. I think that matchup is probably worse than the Tron matchup. Like my Tron win rate is actually like decent, whereas like my red green win rate, I think after 72 leagues I've probably played the matchup like 10 times. I think I won once, and it was out of luck. So I just that matchup just seems unwinnable to me. But I'll stop rambling and complaining about it. Gen players like to complain. Y'all know this. All right, so that's gonna be it for this Gen League. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely hit that subscribe and that like button for more content just like this. So until next time, Gen them out.